Imagine that instead of a tragic heroine, Elsa was the true villain. The night was colder than any other when Elsa was born. The wind howled, the snow fell with unusual force, and even the peasants of the kingdom of Arendelle whispered about a strange chill in the air that night. The queen, exhausted after childbirth, held her daughter in her arms when she noticed something terrifying. The baby's touch was icy. Her first cry made the castle windows frost over instantly. The king's advisors were alarmed. A birth like this was unnatural. Some servants whispered ancient tales of a forgotten curse, of a bloodline of ice witches who brought eternal winters and led kingdoms to ruin. But the king refused to believe it. During Elsa's early years, her powers grew in secret. The walls of her room always had a thin layer of frost, and tiny snowflakes swirled around her as she slept. When her parents realized that she didn't just create ice, but controlled it, they began to fear the future. A decision was made. Elsa must never learn the true extent of her powers. She would be isolated, kept away from everyone, and taught that her abilities were dangerous. But the ice within her had a will of its own, and the more they tried to contain it, the stronger it became. Years passed, and Elsa grew up alone, confined within the frozen walls of her room. Her parents avoided her, her sister Anna didn't understand why, and the castle's servants whispered about the cursed princess. But Elsa knew the truth. Since childhood, she felt something calling to her in the snow, a cold whisper carried by the wind whenever she was alone. Sometimes, she woke in the middle of the night to see white shadows moving along the walls, gliding like ice spirits. Then, the accidents began. First, it was a maid. The young woman entered Elsa's room to light the candles and was found on the floor, frozen to the bone. Her lips were blue, her eyes wide open in terror, and her skin cracked like broken glass. The king and queen claimed it was the harsh winter, but Elsa knew it was her fault. Then, it was a royal advisor. He had argued with the king, insisting that Elsa should be sent to a distant convent. The next day, he disappeared into the forest, leaving behind only footprints that ended in a pool of shattered ice. Something inside her was growing, becoming stronger, uncontrollable. Then came the day her parents left on a diplomatic journey, and they never returned. Their ship sank in a storm, but Elsa had dreamed of it before it happened. That night, while she slept, she saw frozen waves, cutting winds, and ice consuming the sea. When she woke, her room was covered in frost, and the news of the tragedy reached the castle. But instead of grief, Elsa felt something else, something dark. With her parents' death, Elsa became the queen of Arendelle. But something inside her changed forever. The fear that had consumed her in childhood transformed into something new, a hunger for power. On the night of her coronation, the entire city celebrated. Nobles and peasants toasted, Anna smiled excitedly, and the advisors sighed in relief. Finally, Arendelle had a new queen. But Elsa knew it was all a lie. They didn't want her as their ruler. They feared her. The nobles' eyes analyzed her cautiously. The servants avoided looking at her directly. They saw a monster in her. Then, when Anna announced her sudden engagement to Hans, Elsa lost her patience. "You can't marry someone you just met," she shouted. But something in her voice wasn't just anger, it was ice. The ballroom fell silent. Anna insisted, argued, pushed Elsa until the truth came out, and Elsa exploded. With a single movement, she sent a wave of cold across the floor, cracking the castle's marble and making pillars of ice rise around her. The torches went out, the wind rushed through the open doors. The guests screamed, stepping back in panic. Elsa looked around and saw the horror in their eyes. It was exactly what she expected. They would never accept her, never see her as queen, only as a freak. So, she turned and fled the castle, but not in fear, in triumph. She didn't need them. The ice was within her, calling her, guiding her to her true destiny. When she reached the highest mountain peak, she finally freed herself from all the chains that had bound her. She created an ice castle, but unlike in the original movie, it wasn't just a fortress, it was a prison for anyone who dared challenge her. That night, Elsa embraced her destiny as the Dark Ice Queen. Arendelle would soon feel the cold of her wrath. The storm never ceased. Winter had come, and it would never leave. Days turned into eternal nights in Arendelle. The sun barely pierced the gray clouds, and snow covered every rooftop, every street, every life. The cold was relentless. Peasants locked themselves in their homes, burning what little would remain, while the nobles began plotting a coup against the new queen. But Elsa saw everything. Her ice castle wasn't just a home, it was a throne of surveillance. With a mere wave of her hand, she created ice mirrors that reflected any place in the kingdom. She saw the men arming themselves. She saw the conspirators whispering among themselves. She saw the fear in everyone's eyes, and she enjoyed it. So, she sent her monsters. From within her palace, Elsa brought ice creatures to life, white specters that crawled through the snow, their hollow eyes glowing like cold stars. They invaded homes at night, dragging away those who tried to rebel. Bodies were found at dawn, covered in a thin layer of ice, frozen in expressions of pure terror. Meanwhile, Anna refused to give up on her sister. She still believed there was good inside Elsa. With Kristoff and Olaf by her side, she set off on a journey to the ice castle, determined to save her. But Elsa didn't want to be saved. When Anna finally found her, the girl pleaded, "Please, Elsa, stop this. You don't have to hurt anyone." Elsa smiled, but it wasn't a kind smile. It was cold, cruel. "Do you really think I'm still that weak little sister who needed to hide?" And then, with a snap of her fingers, Elsa launched a deadly attack. An ice spike shot from the ground, heading straight for Anna's heart. Time seemed to stop. At the last second, Kristoff threw himself at Anna, pushing her aside. The frozen spear grazed her cloak, stabbing into the ice wall behind them. Elsa frowned. She didn't miss. Anna looked at her sister with tears in her eyes. "Why are you doing this? You don't have to be this way. There's still love inside you." Elsa's face hardened. "Love?" Her voice was cold, empty. "I spent my whole life trying to be someone others would accept. I rejected who I was. And in the end, what good did it do? I was still treated like a monster." She raised her arms, and the storm grew worse. "Now, I've embraced who I truly am, and Arendelle must understand that the hard way." Anna tried to step forward, but Elsa wouldn't allow it. With a simple motion, she created chains of ice, locking Anna in place. "Goodbye, Anna." And then, the ice rose over Anna's body, trapping her in a prison of blue crystal. Silence. But something unexpected happened. Anna wasn't frozen. She was the one thing Elsa's ice could not control. And in that moment, everything changed. The ice cracked, first, in tiny fractures, then, with loud snaps, like glass shattering. In seconds, Anna's crystal prison exploded into glittering fragments, sending a warm glow through the frozen hall. Anna fell to her knees, gasping for air, her chest rising and falling in desperation. She was still alive. Elsa took a step back. "This is impossible." The wind howled furiously around them, but something in the air had shifted. The cold no longer felt as strong. Anna rose slowly, her eyes burning with determination. "You can't freeze me, Elsa. Because I'm your sister. Because I still love you." The first time in a long time, Elsa felt something she hadn't in years. Fear. All her power, all her strength, all the darkness she had embraced, none of it could destroy Anna. She clenched her fists, enraged. "Love won't save you, Anna. It's not strong enough." And then, she unleashed her final attack. Ice spears shot up from the ground, sharp as swords. The wind turned into a frozen cyclone, swirling violently around them. Elsa's castle began to crumble, cracks spreading across the translucent walls. But Anna didn't back down. She advanced toward Elsa, even as the ice tried to stop her. Kristoff and Olaf shouted her name, but she didn't stop. And then, just as Elsa raised her hands for the final blow, Anna embraced her. It was as if time had stopped. The ice around them shattered. The wind ceased. Elsa's eyes widened, her body trembled. The warmth from Anna was unbearable. And then, Elsa collapsed to the ground. The power inside her faded, and the storm finally calmed. But something was wrong. Anna looked at Elsa, expecting her to say something, to react, but she didn't move. Her body was cold, but not with the cold of her magic. It was the cold of death. Anna's love had saved Arendelle, but it had destroyed Elsa in the process. Silence. Olaf fell to his knees, the snow that formed his body beginning to melt. Kristoff looked around, confused, unsure whether to celebrate or mourn. And then, slowly, the snow covering Arendelle began to disappear. The winter had ended, but at a terrible cost. Anna looked at her sister's lifeless body and felt tears streaming down her face. She had won, but she hadn't saved Elsa in time. The Dark Ice Queen was dead, and Arendelle, though free, would never forget the reign of the storm. If you enjoyed this dark version of Frozen, don't forget to leave your like for more eerie stories like this one. And if you want to see another dark twist on a fairy tale or animated movie, click the video appearing on the screen now. I promise, it will give you chills. Until next time, if you can handle it.